Oatmeal. It's a nutritious food packed with fiber, relatively high protein for a non-animal source, and is packed with vitamins and minerals such as iron, vitamin A, vitamin B6, magnesium, calcium, and more. But is the oatmeal diet so good it can even help you lose 10 pounds in a week? Let's dig in.
Hey, this is Colin DeWaay. I help you master your metabolism so you can create the results you want while eating more food. So if that's something you're interested, make sure you subscribe and click on that bell notification so you don't miss anything. So I recently heard of this diet called the oatmeal diet, and I honestly didn't think much of it at first. I'm typically not a big fan of diets with a name because losing weight is all about creating a calorie deficit, and short-term diets lead to short-term results. But then not too long after hearing about it, I saw this ad pop up that said, use the oatmeal diet to lose 10 pounds in 1 week, and I just couldn't help but click it and see what it was all about. Plus, quite frankly, I feel like it's my responsibility to make sure I'm informed about different diets that are out there, so if I am asked about them, I can give an informed opinion and not just make assumptions. Now let me just put this out there first, because while I am typically not a big fan of any diet with a name, so to speak, I'm also not against any diet with a name, and I'm definitely not against anything that's going to help someone lose weight and be able to keep it off in the long run. Plus, there's something very powerful about just believing that a diet's going to work. When you believe it's going to work, it gets you more excited and it makes it more likely that you're going to stick to the plan. Plus, not only are you more likely to stick to that plan, but once you're excited, you're probably going to start doing some other things that are going to help. Like you might get more active, start going for more walks, you might join a gym, start prioritizing sleep, water intake, all that stuff. So just by starting a diet and getting excited, now you've made a lot of changes to your routine, which all add up to creating more of a calorie deficit. Anyway, as mentioned, I did dig into this a little bit more so I could help you determine if it's the right fit for you or not. And what did I find out? Honestly, much of it I did suspect, but much to my surprise, unlike most other diets that use a food in the name, like the boiled egg diet or the grapefruit diet, they don't proclaim oatmeal to be some magical fat-burning food. It's more about meal replacement. Now, they did cover some of the benefits of oatmeal, such as it being higher in fiber, higher in vitamins and minerals, and that it can help you feel fuller, which are all true, but they didn't make any absurd claims about the food, which made me happy because that's the exact thing that most diets do. And that's just never true. While some foods are certainly more filling and more nutrient dense, no foods on their own create fat burning, which this diet did mention, so kudos to them, but at the same time there were still red flags, but we'll get into that and I'll let you make the call for yourself. The diet itself is broken down into 3 phases, and the first phase is 1 week long, and this is the week where they claim that you can lose up to 10 pounds in the first week. In this phase, it says to eat between 900 and 1200 calories per day, and the only thing you're allowed to eat is oatmeal, except you can add a half a cup of skim milk to it if you want, and you're supposed to eat a half a cup of oatmeal at each sitting. And in this first phase, you're only allowed to eat whole oatmeal and not the instant kind. Now let's stop right there and consider the first thing they said, eating between 900 and 1200 calories. For one, having everyone eat the same amount of calories is crazy because not everyone has the same energy demands. So for one person, 1000 calories might be kind of a good calorie amount for them. For another, it could be extremely low. Plus, another thing to consider is it says to eat a half cup of oatmeal at each sitting, but if you take the standard 3 meals per day, if you only have 3 meals of oatmeal, that's only going to be 450 calories for the day. So if you're not actually counting the calories, you could easily end up eating way below the already low 900 to 1200 calories. In fact, you would need 6 servings of that oatmeal just to get to the bottom range of 900 calories. So regardless, even if you're doing 900 calories, which is already really low for most people, or 450 calories, which is extremely low, yes, it would most certainly lead to weight loss, but this is where we need to make sure you understand the difference between weight loss and fat loss. See, carbs are stored in the body in the form of glycogen, and they are accompanied by water. It's literally in the name, carbohydrate. In fact, 1 gram of glycogen is typically accompanied by about 3 grams of water. So when you drop your carbs much lower than your body's used to, you will lose much of this stored energy as well as the water, and weight comes off fast. So depending on your starting position, you could absolutely lose 10 pounds in that first week, but it's not going to be 10 pounds of fat. Sure, some of that weight will likely be fat, but a big chunk of it is just going to be water, and this is what most extreme diets do. It gets you to lose weight really fast in the beginning, which gets you excited and makes it feel like things are working. But what it doesn't talk about is the likely rebound to come later, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, yeah, the first week, just oatmeal, that's all you get. But hey, it's only 1 week, no big deal, right? You can do anything for a week. So let's move on to what phase 2 is, and this phase lasts for 30 days. In this phase, you still eat oatmeal with each meal, except now you can use instant oatmeal if you'd prefer, plus you add a half cup of fruit to your morning and a half cup of veggies to your afternoon. Calories do get increased in this phase to 1,000 to 1,300 calories, but if you remember the previous phase, it was 900 to 1,200, so it's only a 100 calorie increase for the next month. So yeah, you're still eating pretty dang low calorie and you'll still continue to lose weight, but let's keep in mind too, it's merely the low calories from this diet. Now phase 3 is where they make some bigger changes, and I'm gonna get to that, so keep watching. But right now I wanna talk about something that I think is really important you need to consider and always keep in mind when starting a diet.
We always want that one thing we can do to get the results we want. Whether it's just eat oatmeal, or just add lemon to your water, or stop eating carbs, or whatever it might be. But creating results that last is never about that one thing. It's about many things added up together that make for a lifestyle change. Because the big question is, what do you do when the diet is done? Do you go back to your old habits? How do you sustain your results? While the oatmeal diet does address this, sort of, you need to understand whenever you diet, especially on very low calories, your metabolism adapts and slows down to accommodate. The less you eat and the longer you do it for, the more these adaptations happen, and if you go back to your old eating habits when your diet's done, one thing I can promise you is you'll gain weight very fast. In fact, chances are you'll probably overshoot previous levels of body fat, which is very common.
Now there's something you can do to avoid this, which I'm going to talk about soon, but first let's talk about phase 3 of the oatmeal diet. Phase 3, just like phase 2, is once again for 30 days, but I gotta be honest, I feel like they kind of hang you out to dry with this one. It basically says to eat a normal low-calorie diet, but stick to 1 snack and 1 serving of oatmeal daily. It also says to limit fat intake and that calories still matter, so aim to keep them low. Which, for the record, it does give you a recommendation here, and it basically says between 1,000 and 1,400 calories, so it's still really low and hasn't really changed much, if at all, from the previous phase. Now hang tight, because they do talk about what to do after this phase, and I'll get into that. But the thing that I have a problem with here is this diet has basically taught you nothing about food, other than oatmeal should probably be a part of your diet. Which, sure, for the record, oatmeal is great. It's a healthy option, I have no problems with it, but you certainly don't have to eat it to lose weight or to be healthy. Plus, regardless, now you're still eating low calorie, and while you have a little bit more options and a little bit more freedom in your diet, you've basically built zero knowledge on actual nutrition or any other foods, so you're basically left unsure what to do. Now, to its credit, because almost no other diet does this, it does say after phase 3 that you should increase your calories to something that's more sustainable for you. But during the diet, it has you severely restrict your calories by eating oatmeal, and then just kind of expects you to know what to do from there. And while they do give you a sample meal plan that you can do, which I will overlay here so you can see it, it's typically just adding some fruit and veggies and some chicken. And I actually added this up in MyFitnessPal, and it actually came out to about 1,050 calories, which is basically the same calories from what you're supposed to start with. And honestly, if you were to do this diet, I would actually recommend this diet more than I would the actual oatmeal diet that they have in phase 1. And the other thing is to consider, it's still 1,050 calories. So you've gone through 3 phases, and now they're telling you to go into this next phase, and it's still super low calorie. So since they're not gonna help you come out of this, don't worry, if you're gonna do this diet or any other diet, I am gonna help you come out of it. Because there's something you need to do afterwards to make sure you sustain your results. And that's make sure you slowly increase your calories over time and don't go just gorging on all the foods you restricted, because like I said, your weight will come back on really fast if you do that. Which is always the danger of any restrictive diet, because you're gonna be more likely to want to overeat on the foods that you did restrict. And this is why I'm a bigger fan of a more flexible approach to dieting. Because not only does sustainability matter, because let's be honest, if you can't sustain your diet, how are you gonna sustain your results? Plus, after doing this diet or any other low-calorie diet, your metabolism will be suppressed. So unless you want to keep eating these really low calories forever, assuming you want to keep your results, you need to make sure you speed your metabolism back up again. And in order to do that, you're going to use a process called reverse dieting, where you add in maybe 50 to 100 calories to your daily intake, and you eat those calories for a whole week, and then the following week you make another increase and keep repeating this process. Now that's a pretty big oversimplification, and I have a lot of videos about reverse dieting. In fact, I have a playlist on my channel that you can check out if you want more information on it, but this is a decent starting point. This way you can allow yourself to eat more food, allow your metabolism to speed back up and maintain most of your results so you don't have to eat low calorie forever, but you also aren't forced to gain all the weight back. Which, by the way, if losing weight and then regaining it is a common problem for you, make sure you check out this video next to find out why this happens and what you can do to make sure it doesn't happen again. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments and I promise I'll get back to you. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, and I'll see you over at that other video.